So, one of the first things I found interesting from this book by Karen Armstrong, she said that the word Islam means someone who has surrendered, or
Yes.
who is listening to God. Someone who is listening to God.
Yes, that's correct.
Is that a pretty good translation of Islam? Or what it means?
Yeah, I think my English is not that well, but I believe, yeah, surrendered. Well, put it this way: if we say, well, it's best to read the Quran first.
Sure. Okay.
Because if I'm a Muslim, first I have to be a Jewish, because I do believe in Prophet Moses.
Oh, how interesting.
I do believe in the prophets before Prophet Moses also, because Islam says from Adam, that was our father,
To Abraham?
to Abraham. There, all these prophets up to Prophet Muhammad, which was claimed to be the last prophet. We believe in all of them. Prophet Moses brought the Torah for people of that time, not for only Jewish people, but for the whole humanity on the earth.
Anyone can read it and learn something from
Well,
the Torah.
yeah, this is the guidance from God. God sent the religion down here. Because if we believe that God created us, well, first, I should say that this conversation is for people who believe in God.
Right.
Yes. If we believe that God created us, He just doesn't throw us on the earth and leave us alone, because then we could do anything we want. That we make up our own rules. As you see, U.S. is a free country. Of course we have cops around, but we have thieves also.
Right.
So people can do anything because we've been given the ability to choose what to do. Correct?
Right.
Now, God gave us the power to choose between good and bad.
Right.
However, He didn't tell us what's good and bad. I mean, He did.
Some of us were not listening. So.
Exactly. There you go. So they would say, I think, if you need money, you should just go get it, Some people work for it. Thief will say that.
It's bad for my child to go without food.
Right. So he would actually, I don't know if I should say that, but I met a thief a few days ago. That it was in my store. He was stealing a calculator. And as soon as at the door, it started beeping.
Right.
So we usually deactivate the sensor for customers. And I said, let me deactivate it for you. Then he said, and he, I realized that he stole it, and he actually said it. He said, just get this, let me go, because I was getting it from my child. And I talked to him, I said, what's the reason you steal it? I have no money, blah, blah. So, I mean, there is a reason behind anything. Now, is this the good thing for him to do if he doesn't have enough money to steal? Of course not, because there's also another way, which is a better way. So, some people might not listen to what God said before. That's why, if they do not believe in what God said, or if there's no saying from God, then what's the purpose of being here? If we're to choose, because we have different opinions. If you choose stealing is good, and I choose not stealing good, it's going to be a very big mess.
That's true.
And we're going to have prisons full of people. And that's only talking about rules of a society. Let's go into marriage. Let's go into having children, raising them. I mean, it's a huge thing. A human being could be a lot more than what we think. Now, in Islam, we believe that God created three things. Let's focus on these three things.
Okay.
He created angels.
Okay.
Angels are only forced to do what God says. They cannot do sin. He also created animals. Animals are, as you see, they just do what they're supposed to do. I mean, they
have their programming.
Right, they have their own programming, as you say. It's nature. So they eat, they reproduce, they die, but they do not have. You might say dogs have mind, or parrot can talk, but they're just how do you say it? They repeat what we say.
Right.
Imitating.
Oh, yeah. They're copying. Imitating.
Right.
Imitating.
I mean, dogs have, they have their own levels of IQ, but you cannot compare them to human being, correct? Because human being mind, it's been proven, even if you go to Darwin's theory, that that we can not rely on due to this discovery that has been done. If you look at an insect like bee, they have the, what do you call the house of bee
Oh, yeah,
that they
we,
make?
we say hive.
Hive.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's an organization inside.
Exactly. That hive, they have the fossil of that hive from millions of years ago.
Oh, wow.
That fossil has been made the same way that it's being made today.
Oh, so there's no evolution.
There is no evolution.
Uh-huh.
So if that bee has a mind, of course there's something behind it that they make this nice organization, but there's no evolution. There is respiration. I don't know the word. There is they can.
They can breathe, you mean, or
No,
that's
I'm sorry.
respiration. Yeah.
Sorry, the word I forgot. There is they have the ability to make these amazing things. The hive, any animal has its own abilities. There is something behind it, but they don't have the creativity that we have. They don't have this mind that we have,
Sure.
that we can develop, that we can, as you see, our houses are different than the house of 300 years ago.
Sure. They have,
Now we have
Changes.
cars, they had animals before.
right.
So we can develop things. We can. So God created angels, then God created animals that are not able to do good, or they do their own thing. Then He created also human beings. The human is able to do sin. Let's put it in a religious way. They
Right.
could do sin, or let's say a bad thing like stealing, or also they could do something good that God recommended.
Right.
Or if you're not gonna talk religious, let's say we could be a good person. Now, also God gave us the ability to choose from. So the angels and the animals do not have the ability to choose in between, but we do.
That's a good point.
Okay, so
You wouldn't expect an animal to, okay,
Right.
now go save this child across the street.
There
you know,
you
she's
go.
going to be killed. It's your choice, animal, whether this person lives or dies.
that's a very good example.
Yeah.
So the animal is not able to choose in between, but he will just do it. Now we can choose, and then in this narration, God says, if you choose not to sin and to be a good person, the way that I said, or because we can choose what's the good way, right?
Right.
So we focus on what He said. If you choose to do the good thing and not to do sin, you're more than an angel. You have a much higher value to me than an angel that day and night is worshiping me and doing whatever I say.
Yeah.
Because
they don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice. And
Well, that's a nice way to put it.
in another hand, if you do sins and you choose not to worship me or not to be a good person, then you're worse than an animal. Because animals, if they
They don't
you
have
know,
the capacity.
they
to
don't
do
have
good.
right. You put your fruits out in the window and an animal grabs it and you might call it a stealing, but the animal, he didn't choose. He's just hungry and eat it.
Yeah, right.
But if a human being has a mind and steals it, then he's worse than an animal because he could not do it.
Right.
He could choose not to do it.
You could ask for it. You
could ask
go
for it.
and find his own fruit.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So
So this, I'm beginning to see one of the things they talk about in the book by Karen Armstrong is that, that this is one of the things I think that maybe some U.S. people don't quite understand.
right,
One of the purposes of Islam is to create a just society.
exactly.